So let's talk about the deal factors for a great fix and flip loan. And as a real estate investor across our platform, the biggest factor in getting the best fix and flip loan transaction, which meets those requirements we talked about on the last slide, is really number one is your investing experience. So let's talk about it. What does that mean? So lenders on our platform have varying requirements as it relates to experience, but almost all of them have a situation where the more experience you have, the more they will lend, meaning the less in your pocket, and they also will give you the better rates and fees typically as well. So experience is a number one thing. So let's talk about what that means. So lenders on our platform categorize it differently. So some of them will look at a 3-year period of time and say you have to have a certain number of rehab completions in that particular time frame. So some are 2 years, some are 3 years, some are your lifetime. So knowing that's important. The other thing is that some of them will accept alternatives to actually completed rehabs. Some of them will simply say, I'm going to give you a credit if you have just a rental. Maybe you didn't do any rehab on it. I'm going to throw in, a credit for that towards your experience requirements. Some of them give credits for having a real estate license. Other ones, if you've got a general contractor's license, they will give you credit. But the number one thing to getting the best rate and the highest loan amount is how you go about proving your experience in this transactions. Let's talk about that for a second. The easiest way to do that is to keep your HUDs from your closings when you refinance that loan into a permanent loan, or when you sold that particular rehab fix and flip off. That's the best one. However, some will accept reports that we can pull through services like CoreLogic, where it shows that you were actually had ownership interest in a certain property. So again, there's variances there on how lenders accept proving that experience. So again, we navigate that for you, and as our account executive has a discussion with you, he'll bring that up, saying, you say you've done 5 in the last 3 years. Let's talk about those. How, did you sell them? Did you keep them? What happened? So again, so that they know before they say, okay, lender number A is the best, they know that deal will fit. So long story on experience, but that is a number one for fix and flip and new construction loans. The second important criteria is having ample liquidity. And what I mean by that is really excess liquidity above and beyond that cash you need to close on that transaction. So if you've got a fix and flip loan that's 90% of purchase and 10% of, 100% of the rehab, in that particular area, you're going to be bringing in 10% plus the closing costs. And many lenders are going to look for you to have some of a safety net, so that if your deal somehow has a cost overrun or gets delayed, that you still have enough of a safety net to be able to make interest payments during that particular time frame and get to the completion if you have to pay more for materials. So in the third item is really having a decent credit score. I'd say good on this particular slide. Fix and flip is less dependent upon the credit score for pricing. Sometimes if you go below a certain level, your loan amount will be reduced. So we have some lenders that if you drop below 680, they will cut back your leverage from, call it 90 to 85 or 80. So again, credit score might play a little bit into your cash to close requirement, but typically you can get a loan approved with similar rates and fees. Okay, so Three things for a great fix and flip loan: experience, liquidity, FICO score.